Ever feel like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded when it comes to classifying your employees? You've got your team, you're ready to pay them, but then you hit this snag. Are they full-time? Part-time? A contractor? A temporary worker? And what's the difference, really? More importantly, how do you get this right in your payroll software, like Wave? Let's be real, navigating employee classifications isn't just a matter of semantics. It's a foundational element of running a business, and getting it wrong can lead to some serious headaches, including miscalculated payroll taxes, compliance issues, and even legal trouble. But don't worry, we're going to demystify this whole process. We're going to break down the different types of employee classifications, explain why each one is important, and then we'll walk you through a step-by-step tutorial on exactly how to assign these classifications within Wave Payroll. So, let's start with the basics. What are the main employee classifications you'll encounter? We're talking about a few key groups here, and understanding them is the first and most crucial step. First up, you have your W-2 employees. This is your most common classification and includes both full-time and part-time workers. When you hear the term employee, this is typically who people are referring to. The key characteristic here is the employer-employee relationship. As the employer, you have the right to control what work is done and how it is done. You provide the tools, the location, and the supervision. Now, let's split that W-2 category. Full-time employees are typically those who work a set number of hours per week, often 35 to 40 hours, and are usually eligible for benefits like health insurance and retirement plans. Part-time employees, on the other hand, work fewer hours and may or may not be eligible for benefits, depending on your company policy and local laws. The important thing to remember is that for both full-time and part-time W-2 employees, you are responsible for withholding federal, state, and local income taxes, as well as Social Security and Medicare taxes, FICA. You also have to pay federal and state unemployment taxes on their wages. Then, you have your 1099 contractors, also known as independent contractors or freelancers. This is a totally different ballgame. The main difference? With a contractor, you have the right to control the result of the work, but not how the work is done. They often use their own tools, set their own hours, and can work for multiple clients. You don't withhold income or FICA taxes from their paychecks. Instead, they are responsible for paying their own self-employment taxes. When you pay a contractor over $600 in a calendar year, you'll need to issue them a Form 1099 NEC. Misclassifying a W-2 employee as a 1099 contractor is a huge red flag for the IRS and can lead to significant penalties, so it's vital to get this right. Finally, you might also deal with temporary or seasonal employees, interns, or other specific classifications. While these may have slightly different nuances, they generally fall under the W-2 umbrella. For instance, a seasonal employee is still a W-2 employee, but their employment is for a specific, limited duration, like the holiday season. So, you see, the classifications are all about control, duration, and tax responsibility. Now that we've got a solid understanding of the why, let's move on to the how. How do we actually implement this in Wave? Let's dive into the Wave dashboard. We're going to assume you've already set up your Wave account and are in the process of adding your team members. If you haven't, it's a super simple process, and we have another video on that topic. First, you'll want to navigate to the payroll section. You'll find this on the left-hand side menu. Click on Payroll, and then Employees. This will take you to a list of all your current employees and contractors. To add a new team member, click the big green Add Employee button. Wave will then prompt you to enter some basic information. This is where the magic begins. The very first question you'll be asked is this person an employee or a contractor? This is the moment of truth, where you make that critical classification decision we just discussed. Let's say you're hiring someone for your social media marketing. You've agreed on a set salary, they'll work in your office, and you'll provide the computer and software. This is a classic W-2 employee scenario. So, you'll select Employee. Wave will then ask for more details: their name, address, social security number, and so on. As you fill out their personal information, you'll come to a section about their pay. Here, you'll need to decide if they're paid on an hourly or a salary basis. If they're a full-time, salaried employee, you'll enter their annual salary and select how often you want to pay them, e.g., bi-weekly, monthly. If they're a part-time hourly employee, you'll enter their hourly wage. Wave automatically calculates the appropriate tax withholdings based on the information you provide on their W-4 form, which you'll need to collect from them. This is a huge time saver and helps ensure accuracy. Now, let's backtrack a bit. What if that social media marketer is a freelancer? They work from their home office, use their own laptop, and also have other clients. In this case, they are a contractor. When you add them in Wave, you'll select Contractor from that initial prompt. The process for adding a contractor is much simpler because you don't need to collect as much information. You'll enter their name, address, and either their social security number or employer identification number, EIN. You don't need to worry about W-4 forms or tax withholdings, because Wave understands that this person is responsible for their own taxes. When you pay them, Wave will track the total amount, making it easy for you to generate that 1099 NEC form at the end of the year. The key takeaway here is that Wave's interface is designed to guide you through this process with minimal friction. By asking that crucial classification question up front, it sets up the rest of the payroll process correctly, whether it's calculating taxes for a W-2 employee or tracking payments for a 1099 contractor. But what if you need to change a classification? Maybe you started with a freelancer and now you want to bring them on as a full-time employee. This is a common situation for growing businesses. Unfortunately, Wave doesn't allow you to simply switch a classification. This is by design, to protect against accidental changes that could mess up your tax records. With that said, thanks for watching and until next time.